Diddy, Jay-Z has been slammed by the judge's new bombshell ruling. We're going to break it all down. Sit here. They got legal analysis coming on. Going to break it down. So y'all sit here and listen. Jay-Z went hard as soon as he heard his name was mentioned. He fired right back. This is how it's going down. We had to fight for our freedom in the bag because they're not just coming to lock these brothers up. They want the bag. Sit back, cop the book. Make sure you hit the QR code on the screen. All right?
Keep it going, 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 keep it going. Make the audio, make the what? Make the audio, what? Make the audio, make what? Make the audio. I like the way it's going now.
All right, you know what time it is, man. Unique Mecca Audio, I'm here. If you're not subscribed at Mecca Audio TV, please subscribe. Check out a couple of videos. If you're not subscribed at Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories, please subscribe. I'm going to be putting the mad prison stories up there. Got over 200 of them already done. If you didn't see it, I'm going to give you one place to go catch it. Now let's start with P. Diddy, Jay-Z. This judge's bombshell ruling, letting Jay-Z know that we understand you a man from the projects, but this is a courtroom, and you're not going to come in here firing shots like if you got it like that. All right?
P. Diddy has been living at the Metropolitan Detention Center for the past 3 months now. That's because he faces federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. But Diddy's fall from grace came far before his September arrest, but rather last November, when the first civil suit against him was filed alleging sexual abuse. Since then, there have been almost too many civil lawsuits to keep up with, and another high-profile name has recently made its way into a filing.
Now, I got a question, right? My question is, why everyone is believing this about P. Diddy, but they're defending this about Jay-Z? Put it in the comments. When you see they've been partying for a minute, enjoying life, enjoying the bag, and enjoying freedom, and enjoying entertainment. I heard Jay-Z got like a $200 million mansion out in California. I mean, they doing their thing, and now they coming at him. I wonder why. Why do you think they coming at these two brothers? Put it in the comments.
Jay-Z. Sean Carter, Beyonce's husband, whatever you know him as, is now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at one of P. Diddy's parties. We reported on this specific lawsuit back when it was filed in October, but here's a quick refresher. The woman who filed this civil suit is listed only as Jane Doe. She hasn't revealed her true identity and doesn't have to, at least for now, but more on that later. Now, Jane Doe says she met Diddy's limo driver outside the MTV Video Music Awards in September 2000. He told her, quote, Combs liked younger girls and said she'll fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. Later that night, the driver brought her to a large white house that was behind a gated fence, and inside, she saw multiple celebrities she recognized, and of course, P. Diddy.
Do y'all believe this? It's just a question, not my opinion. Do y'all believe this story about a 13-year-old girl having this crazy night? Let's go.
According to her suit, once inside, two men asked plaintiff, that's Jane Doe, to sign a non-disclosure agreement, informing her that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave them her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. Eventually, Jane Doe accepted a drink at this party. She says it was a reddish-yellow mixture and tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something else bitter mixed in. Jane Doe now believes Diddy or one of his associates slipped something into her drink. After all of this, Jane Doe had some of the drink. She says she started feeling woozy and wanted to lie down. So she went into what she thought was an empty room but did not lock the door. The next part is a direct quote from Jane Doe's lawsuit, and it's pretty disturbing, quote, Soon after, Combs, along with a male and female celebrity, entered the room. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff Jane Doe with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her, and said, You are ready to party. Okay, I know.
All right, so you tell me now, do y'all believe that this happened? And do you think that a 13-year-old girl had this type of excursion? Somebody let me know, because this is really, you know, unique and extraordinary. And right now, we really need to talk about it, because we need to get things right and figure out exactly what's going on with our people, because they're definitely going at them.
Did the other people in the room as Celebrity A and Celebrity B. We all knew that Celeb A was a man and Celeb B was a woman. There had been rumblings that Celebrity B is actually Jennifer Lopez, who was Diddy's girlfriend at the time, but that has not been confirmed. What has been confirmed, though, at least according to Jane Doe, is that Celebrity A is Jay-Z. In December, Jane Doe amended her lawsuit to publicly name Jay-Z, alleging he raped her that night. And again, reminder, she's only 13 at the time. Jay-Z completely denies these allegations. He's made a motion earlier this month even for Jane Doe to reveal her identity. And that's not the first time we've seen this tactic, and the last time it actually worked. We reported on this too. The original Jane Doe, who filed civil suit against Diddy in late 2023, the one who included pictures in her lawsuit, was just recently ordered to reveal her name publicly. And that's when we learned that Jane Doe is actually Anna Kane. She's known mostly as the ex-wife of hockey player Evander Kane. So following this same pattern, Jay-Z's team filed a motion demanding Jane Doe make her name public. Here's what his team wrote. Admissions by the plaintiff, meaning Jane Doe, and damning admissions by her own father in a December 13 revelatory NBC interview cast yet further doubt on a claim that was obviously false from the start. The timeline, location, and occurrence of events alleged in plaintiff's complaint are rendered impossible by these admissions. She claims her father picked her up after the assault, and this next part they mean to write, he took a 5-hour trip. She claims she spoke with musician Benji Madden that night. He was not even in New York. She claims the assault took place at an after party hosted in a private residence. Photos show Mr. Carter at an after party at a nightclub. When pressed by NBC, plaintiff was forced to admit, "I've made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying. Not all faces there are as clear," and even that she was guessing about key details, including the time it took to reach the venue. What is more, she admits she does not have a single corroborating witness over the last 24 years. In this
Do you think that this should really go forward, that a man should be able to have his whole empire crumbled just by the allegation of what's going on, when they have, you know, discrepancy? The father said that, you know, it's a 5-hour ride. You know, he don't remember none of it. The first time he heard anything about this with his daughter, beautiful as she is, successful as she became, marrying, you know, big hockey player, and, you know, saying that Benji something was there and he was performing in the Midwest. I mean, you know, the case didn't even begin yet, and it's like they're trying the case, and things is not really adding up, you know, from what they call a layman's point of view. Layman means someone that don't know the law. It's just common sense. I mean, y'all tell me what your common sense tell you about this here, and let's keep it respectable. But, you know, this is not to defend or degrade. This is just to have a sensible conversation, because it sure looks like they're going at these people right here with the bag to me. Because this is the two biggest right now. You know, next to Kanye, they already did their thing with Kanye with the anti-might, you know, statements, and making him look like he losing his mind, which he did look kind of loony. But, you know, he's just looking loony because he was saying things that, you know, the people wasn't used to hearing, but they heard drips and drabs behind, you know, closed doors and at water fountains. And Kanye put it out there about how he felt about the Jewish people. You know what I mean? And that's what happened to him. And now, what they said, he was worth over, you know, over 2-3 billion from the Yeezys and all of that when Kim Kardashian endorsed it. Then you got Jay-Z that got, you know, $1 billion with him and Beyonce. She's being real quiet with this. And then you got Diddy, another billionaires. So this is 3 of our black billionaires right now that's being attacked in the media, and our people is jumping on it, attacking them in the manner that they're attacking them in, and not even giving either one of them their day in court. Now, they're supporting Jay-Z, but they're condemning Diddy. Please put in the comments, why do you think? Because we don't know if any of this is true. Everything is just allegations right now. But why is people so quick to defend Jay-Z but condemn Diddy. Let's keep it moving. All right?
This motion, Jay-Z's team calls for an immediate preservation order, suggesting that Tony Busby, Jane Doe's attorney, could destroy key evidence in the case. The filing even says there's a substantial risk that this may happen. So Jay-Z wants this preservation order, but if not that, he wants the lawsuit completely thrown out and dismissed. But the judge wasn't going for it. This is the spicy part of the motion we mentioned earlier. To start, she broke down the criteria for keeping a plaintiff's name out of a lawsuit, saying there are several key factors in play in Jane Doe's case. One, whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of a personal nature. Two, whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the party seeking to proceed anonymously, or even more critically, to innocent non-parties. Another risk, whether the plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harms of disclosure, particularly in light of her age, and whether the plaintiff's identity has thus far been kept confidential. Now, the motion lays out the pros and cons of keeping Jane Doe's name quiet. The judge notes, most importantly, plaintiff's continued anonymity may cause prejudice to defendants, making it more difficult for them to collect the facts necessary to mount a defense and, as appropriate, challenge plaintiff's credibility.
See, what they saying about that is, if he don't even know who his accuser is, how on earth is he going to be able to defend himself? And we have a right under the Constitution to confront our accusers. So we have someone accusing a man, forget his status, but accusing just a man in the United States of a horrendous act. And they say, but we're not going to tell you who it is. But we're going to let them go in social media and run rampant with their thoughts, allegations, and everything else. But we're not going to tell you who it is, so you can't even defend yourself. So you have to sit back and let all of these allegations run rampant, you know, until we ready to take it into court to see where we go from there. And by then, you know, Jay-Z and them is saying that you're trying to paint a bad picture of me and not even giving me a chance to know who it is so I could defend myself or even know if this even happened. Come on, man. And Jay say this didn't happen. This is foolery. Let's keep it moving.
But she says, nevertheless, at this exceedingly early stage in this case, the factors counseling against disclosure outweigh those that counsel in favor. So the judge granted Jane Doe's motion to remain anonymous, at least for now. She does note, though, that the court intends to revisit this decision at a future date.
Okay, now, the reason why, in my opinion, my layman's opinion, remember I told you layman is someone that don't know the law, but I know enough about the law to know common sense. The reason why is because, you know, she's saying the judge in her mind is like, Jay-Z's attorney Sparrow just keep firing these letters, you know what I mean? You keep filing motions. You're sending all this to the court. Before I even look at one letter, you have another letter. You know what I mean? So, like, you think you're going to bully my courtroom or you're going to sway my decision with these, you know, back and forth, you know, you continuously selling all these letters and, you know, and going at the victim's attorney. The judge said, nah, for now, I'm going to deny you. But I'm going to re-rule this later if you calm down and slow down with this barrage of letters and motions to me. And you talking to, you know, the attorney that's defending the alleged accused in this matter in these letters and motions.
After all this, the judge addresses Jay-Z's prior motion and basically calls out his defense team. She says they have, quote, submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of this case. This next part is extra fiery. Quote,
now, when they say the urgency of this court, they're trying to make it like, oh, there's no urgency. This is the normal procedure. But Jay-Z is saying that, man, I want to clear my name soon as possible. You know, let them identify themselves so the world could see who it is that's accusing me, being that the world is seeing who she's accusing. So we both should be visible to the world. All right?
quote, Carter's lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources and a tactic unlikely to benefit his clients. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it.
The council don't just demand it. The council demand it because it's ruining his character, his reputation. That before this was spotless. Come on.
So we've gone through the motion and the ruling on paper, but what does all of that really mean? So we're joined now by criminal defense attorney Adam Conta to take a closer look at the judge's ruling. Now, Adam, is this a win for Jane Doe, do you think, to remain anonymous?
Yeah, it's a win for Jane Doe, certainly, but it's like a short win. It's really much more of a loss for the legal team of Jay-Z and Diddy.
Why would you say that? Because the judge was kind of harsh to Jay-Z and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. Go be good for a little while, then come back and ask me again.
See, that's the same thing I'm saying. That's why we break it down over here, Unique Make Audio, so y'all understand. It's that what he just said is the same thing that I said, that it's nothing more than Jay-Z keep firing these strong letters with this strong language to the court, demanding things. And she's like, hold up, you're not going to demand anything in my court, and you're not going to keep writing me these letters and think that you're going to bombard and take away my time from really researching this case and doing the other cases that I have, by me having to keep waking up or turning over or checking my email, and it's another letter from your attorney cussing out Tony Busby. Take your time and let me go through this. And then now Jay-Z saying, we want you to rule in 24 hours instead of in 21 days. And the judge is like, you don't demand nothing here, but I'm going to relook at this later on if you fall back and realize that I'm the one running this court. All right, let's go. Let's keep it 100.
That is almost exactly what Judge Annalisa Torres did here. She wanted to send a message directly to Alex Spiro, who is obviously one of the most prolific attorneys in the country right now. I've known him for 20 years. He started as a DA in Manhattan. I knew him as a DA in Manhattan. I had cases against him as a DA in Manhattan. And he's gone on to do incredible things. But he has a very specific style. And there's a lot of people who don't like that style. And Judge Torres is one of them. He's now twice kind of taken the reins and tried to take control of the narrative of cases by putting on sort of these preemptive press conferences. He did it with Mayor Adams, and he did it now with Jay-Z, where he goes to the press and essentially puts on a PowerPoint and says, hey, this is why I think this case is garbage. This is all the inconsistencies. This is where this case fails. But it's obviously from his point of view. And so the judge doesn't like that.
See, that's what I'm saying. So you understand, Sparrow was a district attorney. He was a prosecutor. Prosecutor's the one that prosecutes the case, like they have a prosecutor now prosecuting, Diddy for his case. So Sparrow is really just using prosecution tactics, and they've been doing this from the beginning of time, because the way the law is set up, the judge is supposed to be just that, a judge, just like Lady Justice with the blindfold over her eyes. That's supposed to be the judge, and they're both talking, and she listened to the facts, and then they make a ruling. Now, the prosecution is used to being in control because they're the ones that bring the charges, so they're the one that drive the car forward. So now, Jay-Z, who got Mayor Adams' lawyer also, Sparrow, from what they just said, Sparrow was a prosecutor, so he's using what he said is unique style, which is his prosecution style of attacking, you understand, the opposite party. But now the judge is letting it be known that you can do that when you was a prosecutor, but now you're a defense attorney. You're not running anything. So what we allowed you to do when you was a prosecutor, we're not going to allow you to do now by attacking the witnesses. And I didn't ride yet, right? Let's take a ride. Now, I say that to say, right, let's go on this ride. You got the prosecutor that, they run the courtroom. They decide what the charge is going to be, what you're looking at, where it's going to go, and how far it's going to go, and how much time you're going to get. Now, you have the judge who sit there, and all they could do is what the prosecution recommend, because the way the law has been shaped since the 80s, during the mandatory minimum and all that, is that it gives the judge limited access to deal with each case individually, because the laws is set up where they make a blanket, law or statute that tell the judge how you must sentence and move forward with these cases. So it takes away from the individuality of each case being unique, pun intended. So now Sparrow is going at him like a prosecutor. The judge is like, no, prosecutors do that. Defense attorneys sit back and twiddle their thumbs and wait till the prosecutor decide to reveal who the witness is, whatever evidence they want to give. And they like it. Could you imagine you fighting a case and the prosecutor had that information for 2 years and then they only allowed to give you the information about the witness 24 hours before the witness get on the stand. They had it for 2 years and you get 24 hours to review it. Now, how do you investigate and do everything in 24 hours when they had 2 years to put it together? And then the prosecution, because we riding, then the prosecution give the defense what they choose to give them. So there might be evidence that could, what they call in legal terms, exculpate them, which in layman terms mean can free them. You know what I mean? So they call it exculpatory evidence. So that's what Jay-Z's lawyer is saying, that he made this dispose of the exculpatory evidence that I could use to free my client from the investigation that he had for 2 years when he's supposed to turn over everything he got to me in only 24 hours. They're going to speak on that more, but remember when I said, because this channel and the purpose of me doing these reaction videos is to break it down so that you can understand fully what's going on. All right, let's keep it moving.
You know, the other side of that, especially as for me as a defense attorney, is, well, that's what the DAs do every time they make a big arrest. That's what the federal prosecutors do every time they make a big arrest. They go in front of the camera and they put on this sort of dog and pony show press conference to like tell the nation why this is such a just arrest, why this is such a just prosecution, and to try to get public opinion behind them as they move forward in the case.
And that's the same thing that Jay-Z's lawyer Sparrow did, because he's an ex-prosecutor. He went in front of the camera and he laid down and showed the inconsistencies and why this is a bullcrap lawsuit and why it shouldn't go forward. And now he's getting penalized for doing the same thing that the prosecutor doing. Because remember, we ride. Because let's take the Diddy joint, right? Diddy's judge did something that judges normally never do, and they put a gag order on the prosecution so they can't run out in front of the camera like this attorney just said and blast their version of what they're trying to use to convict you. But Diddy's lawyer told them, nah, you can't go in public, you can't say nothing, just shut the hell up, both of y'all, and let's move forward. All right? And now, in Jay-Z's case, they're dealing with it a little differently. Let's play it out.
It's really Alex Spiro doing the exact opposite thing to help his client, but the judge really didn't like it. And so all of that is to say that this ruling to me is specifically directed at Alex Spiro, saying, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like all the motions you're filing. I don't like how you're going about handling this case. And if you continue to do it, you're not the only one who's got some tricks up their sleeve. I can also do things to make this process more difficult.
You see what I'm saying? When Alex Sparrow was a prosecutor, he was allowed to do all of that. So now he's trying to use prosecution tactics in order to free Jay-Z from this lawsuit. And the judges say, no, you're no longer a prosecutor. Stop it. Because I could do other things too to make it even more harder for you. I know you know what go on behind closed doors and how we work this system, Mr. Sparrow, because you was behind closed doors locking up a lot of brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? And now that you're getting the bag from these big time dudes, more than you was getting working for the state and made a name for yourself with the government, now you want to jump out there and use the tactics that we taught you to beat us? Stop it, Sparrow. And this was the judge's way of spanking him. Stop it. That's it. You know what I mean? Calm down. And right now, we're not gonna allow the witness's identity to be revealed. But if you chill out and go back to being a defense attorney instead of a prosecutor defending a accuser, I'm gonna make it even worse for you. All right.
Yeah, the second half of this motion was kind of crazy. She really called him out. I thought it was really interesting to go through the motion and read it. And it sounds like it was a major tactic on his side to do these press conferences, as you said, file these motions. So if he doesn't stop doing that and just continues bombarding her with all of these motions, what sort of response could the judge have?
All right. Let me give you an example of what this is like, right? You know how you got a female, right? And she's real insecure. Y'all know these and dudes, you know, you got, these partners, because I got a lot of females been following me too, right? So we ride. You know how you got a insecure, companion, lover, partner, whatever you want to call them, and they call you and they want to, where you at? What you doing? And you be like, oh, I'm doing something right now. And then they, you're like, I'll call you back. And then they call you right back. And they say, didn't I tell you I'm doing something? I say, no, but I just want to talk to you. And then you hang up and, say, I'll talk to you later. And then they call you back and say, who you with? What girl you with? I know you with another girl. I know you with another dude. I know you cheating on me. You're always cheating on me. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to do my job. I'm at work. You know what I mean? And you're trying to explain to her that you at work, but she just keep bombarding you with these calls. And even if you was planning on seeing her after work, or maybe even cash apping her, sending her shopping, whatever you was planning on doing, because you just got a bonus at the job and you was planning on seeing her because you in a good mood, but now she done gave you 10 back-to-back phone calls with a bunch of insecurities and attacks and allegations, and now you're like, I'm not doing nothing for this trick. This is what this is like in the courtroom sense, that the judge is saying, you're acting like an insecure, spoiled, scorned lover. Stop bombarding me with these letters. And let me review this one at a time and make my ruling in the 21 days that I wanted to. You might have gotten your ruling in 21 days, but you telling me I must respond in 24 hours is equivalent to the female or the dude saying, you got to talk to me right now. I don't care if you're on your job and you could lose your job. Okay.
If I'm being honest, not much. I mean, the federal court system has a lot of power, and the judges there have a lot of power, and they demand a level of respect that that sometimes judges in state court don't demand. And I say respect, actually, it's more formality. They demand a formality in the process, and so they can do these things, and they can make your life very difficult. But they don't have a lot of leverage, especially over someone like Alex Spiro, who works at a private firm. The judges can't stop him from continuing to bring in a stream of business. And the reality is that even though this victim's name has been continued to be made anonymous for the public for now, that just cannot continue. Because what the judge is doing currently is balancing the public's need for information and the defense's need for information so they can prepare for trial versus the effect that this will have on the alleged victim and her psyche. And obviously the world knows that as soon as her name is revealed, everyone is going to come down on her, from the media to her, to his attorneys, to the social media. You're going to get it from all sides. And so she's doing this victim, the alleged victim, a favor right now by keeping her anonymous, but it's just not practical. So if he keeps doing this, getting back to your question, if he keeps filing these motions, if he keeps making the process difficult, she could sanction him, but she would really have to prove that his motions were not just frivolous, but almost malicious. But ultimately, she's going to have to sign off on revealing the identity of this alleged victim. And there's nothing that's going to stop that from happening.
But see, Jay-Z attorney is prolonging that from happening by going at Tony Busby in this aggressive manner that he's doing it, when, the judge is like, yo, slow down, dog. Let me review this crap. You're not letting me review it.
This case continues to move forward.
Let's talk a bit more about Jane Doe and her identity yet to be revealed, because as of right now, we just have Jane Doe. But if we refer back to previous cases, there was another Jane Doe case. We just recently learned her name, Anna Kane. It came out, the judge ruled. So do you think in this case, the judge could maybe reference that other one and say, okay, time's running out. We got to know your name. It's just the way it's got to go.
Yeah, this is a major news story because it's related to Jay-Z, because it's related to Diddy. And even because the attorneys, Tony Busby and Alex Spiro involved, those are names that are big names right now. And so it gets attention, but this isn't an unusual thing. There are plenty of cases that all of us in the criminal justice world have had where we want to know a victim's name. We want to know more information on an undercover cop. We want to know an alleged victim of sexual assault, so we can get an investigator, so we can do our research, so we can do all these things. And even without the bright lights of Hollywood and the media and scrutiny of social media, judges still routinely rule in favor of protecting someone's identity in this situation. So I don't think this is sort of outside the box where no other judge or judicial review committee is going to look at Annalisa Torres' decision and say, wow, this is so unreasonable. This is going to get overturned immediately. This is outrageous. You're not hearing any of that. In fact, if you look at some of these articles, they'll even say, you know, this is kind of a routine thing. But the reality is, like the case you just referenced, at some point, it is impossible to prepare. It is impossible to confront your accuser, which you have a constitutional right to do, unless you have their identity, unless you can do some real meaningful work. And getting the name of the accuser the day before trial or a week before trial, which some of us have had happen, is mostly a thing of the past now, because appeals courts have been pretty clear that that is a massive prejudice to be able to put on a reasonable and meaningful defense for your client.
Okay, so let me break that down so you understand. When I went to trial, could we ride? You know, we like to ride over here. When I went to trial, I had about 100 witnesses testify against me. And could you believe that we did not get these witnesses testimonies, debriefing, notes, you know, videos, or audio, whatever. They give my lawyer the information on the witnesses the day before they got on the stand. And when they give them the information, it's not like they're giving them 5 pages or 6 pages. They're giving them a box, a big box like this, full of papers. And back then it was cassettes. I know y'all laugh, cassettes. But they give them all this, and they got to listen to all this video. They got to read all these documents, see which one they want to use that they could use to exculpate. Remember, I told you that means to free the person. That helps the defense. And you're supposed to find what's what. I mean, like, how do you go and do something like that and really try and put on a defense within 24 hours? That's ridiculous. But that's how they did me. They gave my lawyer a box of papers like this, a big box, and again, the camera, a big box filled with documents from statements and investigation from each witness the day before. So if they're gonna have 3 witnesses for that day, they got 3 big boxes. They got to go through the night before, take notes, and then come into trial and know how to move forward with it. I mean, come on, man. Like, where are we really going with this? But that's how they did us, and that was 30 years ago. But like this attorney just said, they changed that, and, you know, that's a thing of the past. But that got me 30 years in jail. I beat half of my charges at trial. I beat all my drug charges at trial and all what they call predicates. Predicates are charges that can get you time in prison. That warrants unanimous verdict of 12 or more people in order to get a conviction on each charge. So those charges are called predicates. Now, you got these predicates against you, and I beat all the main predicates. I only got found guilty of conspiracy to money launder, and the 848 kingpin charge. I beat the actual drug charge, so I was never convicted of selling a gram of cocaine in the United States a day in my life. Never convicted of selling a gram of cocaine, nothing, a day in my life. But yet they had all these witnesses come in, and the day before they testified, they hit my lawyer with boxes of papers, and we still beat the drug charges. We still beat the money laundering charges. But they found me guilty of conspiracy because I had Club 2000 that was worth $1 million. I had over 20 cars. They seized maybe 15 of them. Go look me up, 93 F3D, page 126, United States versus Hall. Ain't nothing to hide. When I talk to you, I'm talking to you from facts. I'm not talking to you from what I learned in law school. I learned from what I had to live through. Every night for 26 and a half years, I sat there reading law books and law codes and criminal statutes, and in order to understand this to gain my freedom. And then now that I come home and I'm a free man, I took that and I flipped it and put it in a way to make an income out of it and still enlighten my people to try and deter them from going down the path that I went. And that's why I say go to Unique Mecca Audio Prison Story, and you'll hear the craziest prison experiences that I went through or that anyone would ever go through. All the way from like the video I did, go back and watch the video on Brooks. What's his name? Robert Brooks up in Marcy Correctional Center, how they beat that boy. They whooped him like a runaway slave. And that was just for getting transferred into their prison. So that means that he obviously, 9 times out of 10, did something to an officer in another prison, and the correction officers is allegedly no more than a bunch of, rogue gang members. And they whooped him because he did something to one of their comrades, allegedly. And you're going to see it's all going to come out. Then you're going to see I know what I'm talking about. Because they don't beat you like that when you just enter that jail, enter any jail, unless you had an incident with another police and, because we ride. And like when you enter places like Marion and ADX, just for going there. But 9 times out of 10, they know when you come in there, you either did something to the police or you bodied somebody in the system, or, you physically really assaulted an officer. So when you enter these super max prisons, when you get off, they whoop you just to let you know that what you got away with over there, you're not going to get away with over here. And Marcy Correctional Facility, upstate New York, that beat Mr. Robert Brooks allegedly, and we saw the tape, so you decide if it's allegedly, they did what they've been doing. And that's why I tell the youth, don't go to prison. Don't break the law. Go to school, get an education. I should have listened to my mother and went to school and got an education. But I chose to take the wrong path that I'm trying to correct you from going down. Let's keep this moving.
And this is something that Judge Torres referenced specifically in her motion. She basically said, I will keep this quiet. Your name will be Jane Doe for now, but I reserve the right to change my mind. And according to what you're saying, it sounds like she might. What could a timetable look like for that, for us to know Jane Doe's true identity?
It's hard to say. I mean, part of what the judge was angry about was Alex Spiro's constant barrage of letters, which she found combative, full of inflammatory language. But the heart of those letters was essentially, let's move this along. Let's do this as fast as possible. So even if she's trying to stop him from doing that, I don't think there's going to be a shift in strategy on trying to move this case forward as fast as possible. They want this case resolved and done as fast as possible.
But the problem is Jay-Z's attorney is moving like a prosecutor, which is no more than an alleged thug because they run the courtroom, which is no more than this alleged thug prosecutor, ex-prosecutor, alleged thug prosecutor, has teamed up with, as Jay-Z said, a brother that came from the projects. So you got 2, ex-thugs coming together and bringing it in the courtroom. Alleged ex-thugs. Let's keep it 100.
Now, sometimes that's just puffery, but we'll see as this case goes on. If you see a continuance of Mr. Spiro's sort of pursuing getting this to trial quickly, then that's going to shorten up the timeline. A lot of times attorneys ask for more time to review discovery, to prepare, to find witnesses. But in this case, it sounds like they want to push this as fast as possible. So the closer we get to a hearing or a trial that has some sort of meaningful result attached to it, then the judge will be forced to turn over, not turn over, the judge will be forced to reverse her decision and make the name public.
Something we have to remember from this specific Jane Doe lawsuit is it gave us the bombshell revelation of Jay-Z's involvement. So when it was first filed, he was simply Celebrity A, and there's a Celebrity B, but we didn't know who he was. Now we know it's Jay-Z. It's been amended to actually have his name in there, Sean Carter. But there's still Celebrity B, a female celeb. We don't know who she is. Do you think her identity could be revealed?
You know, that's going to be probably up to Tony Busby, the attorney for the plaintiff. Clearly, they're trying to use these sort of Celebrity A pseudonyms as leverage. And you can see what happened when they put Sean Carter in there. I think it was first filed in October, and then they put him in only a few weeks ago on December 8th. And look what we're doing now. We're talking about it. It's in the news. It kind of had died down, the specific allegations. It was more just sort of an umbrella story about Diddy and what his parties meant and sort of what they mean right now in the legal world and in the world of media. But now that they've added Jay-Z's name specifically to it, it's obviously getting a whole new wave of attention and more focused attention on this victim. So I think it's going to be tied to the media cycle, if I had to guess, and how these rulings continue. And they have this celebrity name that is sort of waiting to take over the headlines when they choose to release it.
Okay, let me break that down, because we like to ride. Let me break that down. Now, you see they had Celebrity, one, Celebrity A, whatever you want to call it, and then now they was sending Jay-Z letters behind the scene to his attorney, tell him that let's sit down, let's talk about this, what they call amicably, that means professionally, and try and work out this situation because, your client has been accused for SA and R on a 13-year-old. Now, when they do that, they fell back to give him a chance amicably and respectfully to respond, to see if they could allegedly shake him out the bag because he don't want it to go in the media. And whether it's true or not, that public perception is a mother and it could ruin your career. And we're not trying to go through that. So, that's where they at with that. But then now, at the same time, as we speak, they're sending a letter right now to whoever they think is Celebrity B, the female, letting her know, look, you could either get with us or you could be against us. If you get with us, we're going to free you. You know what I mean? If you get with us, we're going to free you, and we're going to make sure that you don't get charged and you can get on our defense team and do what needs to be done. And that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So now, that's how that's playing out. So now they're going to eventually reveal that. And when they eventually reveal who Celebrity B is, the female, that's going to be because she didn't want to play ball in the manner that they wanted her to play ball in, which means to get, with paying the money under the table or being a witness against Jay-Z and Diddy. You understand? They're going to try and get whoever the female is. They keep throwing out there Jennifer Lopez, but at the same time, you never know. They might be trying to shake down a Queen Bee as well. Think about it. What if it's Oprah they're shaking down? Well, allegedly shaken down. That's how this is going right now. So we're going to see if Celebrity B, the female that they said was allegedly there, decide to give them the bag under the table, to not have her name revealed. If she don't give them the bag and don't agree to cooperate, then they're going to throw a female celebrity name out in the media, and we're going to have more content, because this is how content is created. All right?
So I think it will be added, but it's going to be a strategic time.
See?
What about additional lawsuits? Because Tony Busby, the name you've been mentioning a lot, has said, he said there were thousands of allegations, but he says he's going to file more than 100 civil lawsuits. So we obviously know that P. Diddy is going to be involved in this, but could Jay-Z, could other celebrities that have yet to be named?
Beyonce?
Yeah, of course. Just put a dartboard up, put any celebrity you want on there, and just throw a dart. And any one of them could be involved. How many people have you heard named that were at these parties? Like, these were synonymous. When you said party, Hollywood party in the early 2000s, Diddy was synonymous with that.
But I just want to ask this, right? 'Cause I don't know. I was locked up in the early 2000s. when they were saying the Diddy parties, and I was looking at MTV and BET and reading Vanity Fair, and they showed these pictures from this elaborate party with people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Bruce Willis, Demi Moore. I mean, all the bigwigs, Oprah, Martha Stewart, everybody was at these parties back in that time, right? But does that mean that, did y'all hear back then that they was having, sex at these parties? Or did you just hear that it was an elite party for the rich and famous and they dressed up in white and went to these parties? Y'all put in the comments, I don't know. Or did this sex thing just started coming out, as, Diddy's name got bigger, or, more people started talking about how much fun they had at the parties? Because you got to remember, because we ride. And I apologize for this video being so long. I know it's 45 minutes. It's a lot to cover. But, let's shake it back, right? Because I'm just trying to figure this out. Now, imagine you at a party, right? You're a big, rich, and famous person. You're at a party, and then the host invites a lot of escorts, male and female escorts, to the parties. And then the female escorts stay at the parties. And then here go these celebrities. They got a little tipsy. They took their little drugs or pills or whatever they had to do. And, they get in their groove, and then they start feeling a little tingling in their midsection, you know what I mean? And then now they want to do something. And then here's a celebrity. And they tell the celebrity, give me $5,000 and we could go in the bathroom. Oh, I found the room upstairs. We could slide in for $5,000. Now, does that mean that the host knew about this? Or does that mean that the party goer chose to do this, thinking that it was just going to be him and that escort privately releasing himself, per se? Put it in the comments. I'm just really trying to figure this out. Like, did the host know? When you host a party, that's just like, let's ride. That's just like how you go to a party and you send your children to a party, and you think it's going to be supervised and chaperoned by the parents of the child that's having the party. And then you find out after the fact that the children was drinking, but the parent was out of town and allowed the child to have a party. Violation, somebody should have been there over 18, so I already know you rat bastards is going to say, oh, the parent should have been there. And you're right, Mr. Rat and Mrs. Rat Bastard. All right, let's get that straight. But now they hold the homeowner responsible for whatever happens at that party with these children, the same as they're holding Diddy responsible for whatever happened at these parties. But did the homeowner know that their kids was going to go out and buy liquor and allow liquor in their house at this party? Or did they believe that their children was coming to a party and just have a good time and be just as responsible and respectable as they are if the parent was there? That's called putting trust in your child. That's like the host putting trust in their party goers. But then you got escorts there. They trying to make a bag because, you know how you go to Vegas and you at the casino. Could they charge the casino owners? Could we ride? Could they charge the casino owners that has escorts that wander into the casinos and turn a trick in the casino with ex trafficking, with being a part of this trick that was turned? Even though the casino owner didn't bust a nut, the casino owner didn't get $1, the casino owner didn't even know what was happening. Could they charge them for what happens at this place or what? Somebody tell me and let me know. All right, let's put in the comments and keep it moving.
There's a sketch you can find online of the opening scene to the VMAs, right? The MTV Video Music Awards. The whole point of the sketch is that everyone was at a Diddy party. The whole thing is surrounded about glorifying Diddy's parties. And so everyone who was hot during that time period was at one of these parties. I mean, Jay-Z, LeBron James, Ashton Kutcher. I mean, the list is endless of celebrities who were there. But obviously being there has no association with this type of wrongdoing. This is so beyond the pale of attending a party. And so, yeah, I mean, you could see anybody's name, but please keep in mind that just attending a party does not mean you were involved in some litany of sexual assaults on a minor or an adult.
Okay, right there. That's the point that I was just making. So just by throwing a party, does that mean that you involved in the activities that your party goers conduct? Picture you in a big mansion at what they say is a alleged Diddy party, and you know, you wander up in there and a female looking good, whether you're intoxicated, high off drugs or whatever, but you just feel like getting with this person and you say, yo, you know, let's go in the backyard. I seen this back room in the backyard. We could go in the backyard and, you know, get it on. I got 10 grand for you. And then they slide in the back room, get it on. And let's see, that even say when they go in the back room and do this, the female said no, and the dude wound up R-ing her in that back room, that he made the deal with this escort and the host didn't know nothing about it. And then now the escort go to the police and say she was R-ed on his property. He had no knowledge of it. But then they hold the homeowner responsible for something they had no knowledge of, no consent of, because it happened on their property. You see, I give you things to think about. Let's keep this moving.
So I wonder, as this goes on, you know, I think we're going to start seeing more stories on both sides. You just saw from Blake Lively, which is a completely separate story, but you can see from her and what's come about her recently, that if you want to do a smear campaign against someone, there are firms out there, that's their whole job. And I think what we're learning right now is it's not that difficult. You get a few people and a few key pieces, and you can really turn the tide of public opinion. So now we're also starting to see stories about Tony Busby, and did he do some wrongdoing, and he's getting sued for things. I have no clue if he's ever done anything wrong in his life. I don't know the man, and I don't know the stories well enough to comment on whether or not what he did is right or wrong, or if there's any truth to it. But, you know, I think a cautionary tale here is Michael Avenatti, who's Stormy Daniels' attorney, right? We all remember that guy shot to fame so fast, and everyone loved him because they could not wait to take down Trump with this porn star who he had paid off. But people didn't do their research. And then all of a sudden, this guy, Michael Avenatti, who was the hottest attorney in the country, who was on the way to like a political career and fame and fortune, where is he now? He's in federal prison because it also turned out he had blackmailed the executives of Nike for trying to do a smear campaign against them. So we're just at the beginning stages of the power of the media and people with malicious intent can do. And I think we're going to see a really ugly, play out here.
Very ugly.
Michael Avenatti, I haven't heard that name or thought about him in a while, because you're right, he is in federal prison now. But you're good to remind us too that what we've been talking about today has been civil lawsuits, these allegations separate from the criminal ones that Diddy is facing. But it also begs the question, could the feds that eventually arrested P. Diddy, he's now charged federally, could they be taking a closer look at Jay-Z now that his name is out there in the public?
Of course. That's what the whole thing is about. Tony Busby already said that he's going to be working closely with the feds to turn over his research, because the feds going after the bag from Diddy, Jay-Z, and the rest of these rappers and entertainers that don't know their names are coming up. But all I want to know is, when are they going to bring up somebody that participated, or is it all going to be all black that allegedly participated? Or, you know, somebody let me know what's going on. You know, let's keep this moving.
They could be, but they certainly haven't tipped their hand at all. It was a much clearer path to see that Diddy was going to get indicted and that Diddy was going to have some real criminal legal issues ahead of him. Right now, all we have are allegations, and I'm sure there is evidence behind those allegations on both sides, both for innocence and for guilt, that people are looking at. But at the moment, it doesn't seem close to transitioning to any sort of criminal charges, to me.
We're getting closer to 2025, just days, hours away at this point, and that means we will be in the same year as this trial is set to begin. I believe it's May 5th is jury selection for Diddy. What do you think about that? It's a pretty quick turnaround in my mind, but what are your thoughts? Will both sides be ready?
Well, I don't know. It is a quick turnaround. It's a very quick turnaround, especially when there's this dearth of evidence. You're talking about potentially 150 witnesses. To be able to prepare for something like that is a monumental task. But Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, is incredibly skilled. He's incredibly talented and hardworking, and he has a team of people who can help him prepare. And again, like Jay-Z, so far, everything they've said to the media is we are going to push this as fast and as hard as we can to get this to trial, because once we get it to trial, we will be able to exonerate our client. And so that's really going to tell you everything you need to know about this case. Do they follow that timeline? Or in April and March, are they saying, well, actually, we need some more time. Maybe we push this off to November or something like that? We don't know yet. But right now, all signs that we have are that that is a very genuine request, and they very much want to get this to trial as fast as possible.
Criminal, civil, whatever it is, we're obviously following any updates in the Diddy story, now Jay-Z too.
All right, so they following any update in the Jay-Z story, as you see, and I'm just trying to let y'all know, let the evidence play out, defend your people, defend your people, defend your people until after the evidence come out and the rulings are made. Don't just jump on it and make videos bashing them, dogging them, because these same videos, you have people on here watching this with the government and the states and all that, that's grabbing everything that YouTubers is saying, and they're trying to create a picture. You see now a lot of YouTubers' names is coming up in these criminal, M for hire cases, these Chicago cases. They got the little YouTubers out there that was working with the feds. So that's the same thing like I say when I say, Tony Busby is sending these letters out to Jay-Z saying, you're listed as, accomplice or accuser number one or accuser number A. And, if you don't want your name out there, you know what I mean? You don't want to be put on, risk being put on Diddy's, lawsuit, you give me this bag. Now, that's the same thing that, well, they say he allegedly doing that, because I got to say allegedly. That's the same thing like these little YouTubers out there in Chicago that gets all this information. They get all the information on everything going on, the gangbangers, and it's out there before the media even know, but these little YouTubers know, and I'm wondering how they get this information. But what it is the feds out there and the state out there allegedly contacted these podcasters, and they told them, look, you said XYZ, we could bring you in on charges because you knew about it, because you spoke on it, and you didn't reveal it to the police. So either be charged on this indictment or come work with us and give us the information you find out, and we give you the information, and we bring down these dudes, and we'll even go as far as paying you. So you'll get your YouTube money, and we'll give you the behind the scenes, and we're going to pay you to bring down these millionaire up-and-coming rappers. Because don't forget, Little Durk and his father, Big Durk, Shorty Dope, and the rest of the brothers out there in Chicago, the elders, they got with the youngins going through, Lil Durk, and got them to take their shahada and got them to pray out there on O Block. That was a big feat. Don't think the state and the feds didn't see that. That's when they said, whoa, we got to get this kid off the street. He's trying to wake up the babies and give them religion when we had them lost with no religion. For over 400 years, they've been lost because we took away and stripped their gods and gave them false idols. And now that these men came out of prison, they're reaching the babies and using a powerful voice in Little Durk to have them bow their heads in prayer on O Block that so much blood was spilled in. I know y'all don't understand what I'm saying with that or where I'm going with that, and I know some do. But if you do, keep it moving. If you don't, keep it moving. Now, subscribe at Mecca Audio TV. Subscribe at Unique Mecca Audio Prison Story. And subscribe over here at Unique Mecca Audio. And please hit the notification bell. And all they trying to shadow ban me. The content is fire. I ran into some people yesterday at the club at Salsa Confrego was telling me, Unique, you ain't put up a video in 2 weeks. Man, I'm putting up a video 2 times a day. They said, well, I ain't getting the notifications. And I got the notification bell. They pull out their phone, and when they put in my name right there in front of me, my name didn't even come up. And then we take somebody else's phone and put in my name, and then it came up. So that's what shadow banning is, where they ban your channel from other people seeing it. But when you put it in, you could see it, so you think everything is good, and the whole time they hiding your channel in the shadows, but they got you thinking you could see it. Let's keep it moving. Hit the QR code. Cop the book of Raw in Harlem. It is fire, fire, fire at aroarinharlem.com. The same name in the title, aroarinharlem.com, or you can get it on Amazon. I don't care where you get it, but I'm going to say it again. I don't want none of you rat bastards buying this book. It's not for you. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, heat back on the strip, get it back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in hall. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. Did not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. Baby horn uptown, Dominican bust down. Now we on the positive, you we got a lot to give. Now you trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend it air. He started in uptown, he gon' finish there. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.